Hi all, back again with some more horror stories from my decade plus of playing. Today's story is about Ricky, the bard/barbarian of my previous stories. In that one, we saw Ricky as a player, but in this one, from about 2 years earlier, is where he decided to be the GM. Now, I know a lot of you are going to ask, why play with this guy? Well, a lot of in real life things changed for Ricky, and I kept giving him chances like an idiot. Anyway, our cast: Ricky, the GM, Giovanni, the Ranger, Ruby, our rogue, and Van, our sorcerer/that guy for the story, who was dating Giovanni, me, our fighter, who was dating Ruby. The campaign starts with us meeting up at Giovanni and Van's place for a dinner/D&D evening. One by one, we are taken aside by Ricky and asked to make our characters with him, and we would have no idea about each other's backstory. Cool concept. So I roll some dice and give him my concept, and he gives me a backstory. A legendary general who fought and led many wars. As such, he was well into his 50s. He was also very hardcore about respect and teamwork. A military man. We were level 1 characters, but since he had created the world and had a story in mind, I went with it. So the game starts with us all awakening cages or chained to the wall in what appears to be a dungeon. We have no equipment at all. We see a single figure approaching us from across a single bridge over a huge chasm that leads to us. We are told we should try to escape. I grab the gate and ripped it off its hinges, then tear the door off of Giovanni's cage and freed him. I equip myself with an entire door, and he grabs a pipe. Ruby manages to slip out of her manacles and frees Van with some use of nearby debris. However, Van rehooks his manacles to appear chained as this bizarre creature engages us and tells us to get back to our cages. The three of us fight this thing tooth and nail, and in the middle of it, Van hands Ricky a note. So Ricky tells us we see Van sprinting across the bridge and into a door on the far side. Okay, weird, but maybe backstory. We finish the thing off and we all just barely limp away between 1 to 3 HP. So we run off after Van, and we see him looking around. We all confront him, but are caused to flee from the sudden appearance of a giant. We escape through the sewers and leave this massive keep. Hiding at the entrance, we see an army marching into the keep. We go a bit further and then confront Van again, and he simply says, "I don't have to talk to you, I can use magic." Ruby is angry, but she doesn't say anything. Giovanni and I both correctly say magic isn't real, as this is what we were told by the DM. I tell Van, work with us or travel alone. It's easier to feed 3 soldiers than 3 soldiers and a leech. Van gets angry and keeps passing the DM notes. Arriving at a deserted town, we find a weapons store. Entering, everything is well lit, and we have a feast. Dinner was served, so this was a cool touch by the DM. We sit and discuss our characters, except Van. Ruby doesn't tell us much, but it seems her character is just naturally quiet. Giovanni and I divvy up duties. I will handle melee, and he will be ranged, and as such, I will tank. As we are talking, a strange god appears and tells us we are the chosen heroes from history to help save the world. We are each given a necklace and some basic equipment. We also level up. She then fades, and with it, all the food and extra equipment that surrounds us. Instead, we are surrounded by rusty weapons. I take some as a backup. Van uses this time to read a tome he stole about monsters and magic. We leave and are immediately attacked by a troll. Van asks, can he read what the book says about trolls to give us an advantage? Cool idea, I thought. No, you have no idea what a troll is, so you can't look it up. Then why give us the book? Anyway, Ruby sneak attacks as I tank and smack the thing. Giovanni is pegging it with arrows, but we are losing badly. Mainly because Van is literally sitting down and is starting to read the book until he finds something that describes a creature similar to what we are fighting. Yep, reading. So I go down. Giovanni goes down. Ruby is trying to stabilize with medicine rolls and Van is reading. He eventually finds the right page and tries to cast a spell. No luck. Tries again, fails. So what does he do? He runs. He leaves the village and abandons us. Ruby drags us into the store with Van running away, causing enough of a distraction to allow us to escape the troll. Ruby finds 6 healing potions and we are up and running. We go into full guerrilla warfare tactics and are keeping the troll busy running between us, and Giovanni sees the book and looks at all of us and we nod. He attempts to read the spell and succeeds. He had to roll a nat 20. He casts Fireball and destroys the troll. All of us are stunned, except Van. "I see you figured out my plan," he says confidently, strolling up. "This went exactly to plan." So I ask, "You planned for us to nearly die?" "Of course, you are just meatheads here to protect the magic caster. Now you know magic is real. Bow down before me." We all say no, and my character in fact appoints Giovanni as our leader, as he is the only one who can cast magic. This angered Van immensely, and more notes are written. I again reiterate, work with us or be alone. Van huffs and asks for his book, and we give it back. He quickly passes the DM a note and rolls only, showing the result to the DM. We are walking to a nearby city the god hidden at when Van tries to cast a spell on us. Since we only saw a fireball, we all say we draw weapons to defend ourselves against Van. We are told we can't because apparently when he took his book back, he took all of our weapons and somehow hid all of them without a pack or anything. That's right, he hid a great axe, a longbow, 18 arrows, and 3 daggers with no pack. We all shrug and say, fine, we'll just beat it out of him barehanded. We roll initiative, all get higher than him, and proceed to mug our wizard friend and tie him up. More notes are handed to the DM. I'm now leading Van on a rope leash tied to his bindings and encounter a strange hag woman. She gives us a magical bag filled with loot. We didn't know it was a hag, so we thought it was a cool gift. Inside was magic weapons and upgraded armor for me, as I was tanking and no one complained about me getting the armor. I sling the bag over my shoulder and carry it until we can camp to equip all our new stuff. Most players go out for a smoke break, so I ask if I can talk to Van privately and have it be a conversation between our characters. Everyone agrees, and we talk. I explain my character's reasons and reiterate the warning, saying we don't want to attack him again. Van agrees to chill, but when everyone comes back, the DM asks about the conversation, and I start telling him when Van says, "It wasn't in character, he didn't use a different voice, so none of it happened." I am now even more angry, but the story continues. We see the city nearby, and the DM and Van are constantly passing notes, making everyone angry, and we say cut it out, but the DM says everyone can do the same thing. So we shrug, and I say, I want to talk to Van one more time to appeal to him. "You can't." "What do you mean?" "Yeah, Van escaped and took your bag of loot and escaped the bindings." We all look confused. How didn't we notice? "Well, you never rolled perception." "You never asked us to." "I don't ask my players to make rolls. You should think to ask for them. You guys missed a ton of content because you aren't asking." Now we are all angry, but I calmly ask, how is it I didn't notice when I'm holding his tether and had the bag on me? "You're a fighter. You aren't smart enough to notice." What in the world? My character had a 16 intelligence because he was meant to be a battlefield general. DM tells me to just move on. So we continue. We roleplay our way into this lockdown city and find out that Van got in by handing over all our goods and reporting us to the big bad evil guy because he has a plan. We come across Van in the town when the DM literally railroads him back to us. We all attack with our weapons, all intent on killing him, when the god stops us and all our necklaces change to show what our role in the party will be. Ruby, the thief, Giovanni, tracker, me, defender, and Van, leader. We all quit as Van sits there with a pompous smile. The next day, Ricky contacts us and asks us to give the game one more shot, but we say no, there's way too many problems. He promises to fix them. We were really D&D starved, and so we agreed. Ruby and I host the next game, and some family and a family friend of Ruby asks if they can watch. Already, Ricky can't focus because he's too busy flirting with the family friend to pay any attention. Session starts with us in a tavern, having been teleported by a goddess. I straight up say to Van out of the game, "Do one more thing to mess this over, and I will kill your character." He just shrugs. Ruby is tired of him too, so she binds his hands in the game. Out of game, she had a scarf, so Van had said for immersion, why not bind his hands with that? She of course doesn't bind them that tight, so he can still drink and play. We are gathering information in the tavern when Van slips his hands out of the binds and declares his character escaped because he escaped the scarf. The party groans, but we leave him as we are enjoying our role-playing when he starts passing notes to the DM, and Ruby is approached by an NPC simply asking, "How much?" She's confused and walks away to our table and orders us food. More notes are passing. I'm walking back to the table and overhear Van telling an NPC that I'm a slave and I'm selling Ruby as a lady of the night to fund my eating habits. Ruby is visibly angry now, but doesn't get the chance to react before I simply state I try to cut his head off. Ricky looks at me shocked. I roll and get a nat 20. I bring him down to 1 HP. Van is now squirting blood everywhere. DM tells me if I attack again, I will lose my arm so I can never use my great axe ever again. I say fine and roll a second nat 20 and get told that I miss as my arm explodes in shards of ice and Van is fully healed. Van runs out of the tavern and the rest of us are just ready to call it quits and step outside. After about 30 minutes, Ricky finally stops his flirting to beg us to come and finish the session. We all agree and are led to a bizarre trial which ended in a strange room. Ruby had picked up a dagger and when she tried to use it, it cast Disintegrate on herself and summoned a dragon that TPK'd us all. We tell everyone to leave and Ricky spent the rest of the evening hitting on the friend. I truly wish I could say that this was the last time he DM'd for us, but alas, I can't. This story shouldn't have happened. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 10 times back to back, and I'm just asking for it. And this was a group that willingly subjected themselves to this torture. They really could not accept the fact that no D&D is better than bad D&D. What do you all think about this situation?